Day 4 of the DX Kamen Rider build upgrade week. I'm kind of getting tired of looking at this driver. I'm also kind of tired of sounding like this. I miss my normal microphone. But we still have toys to review, so we will press on. And we begin again with the DX Rabbit Tank Full Bottle. Yes, I knew the day would come where we had just one big bottle that split into two and then went in. I didn't think they'd be attached, but hey, it is what it is. And yeah, I'm kind of happy that it came to pass. So, the basics. Translucent smoke gray plastic throughout. You can see a whole bunch of internal, batteries for starters, but also wiring and electronics, as you would expect from such things. And that gives it a little bit more of a techno look. Sculpt-wise, we have lots of gold plastic as well as silver plastic inlaid, just in case, you didn't have enough Kamen Rider double vibes from these toys in general. Now we have bottles with gold and silver tips. It's just how it goes. That said, it's all done in plastic, and I don't really see a whole lot of paintwork done on this thing, except you do have the build logo emblazoned right there, so, you got a little bit. I don't know, this one keeps it mostly to function, so we'll see that here in a bit. I do like the sculpting, though. You do have a lot of elements of the bottles, but again, you also have a whole bunch of that homemade tech greeble, wires and hoses exposed and whatnot, and I still really dig that aesthetic. So, I am still happy here. Now, to activate this thing, you're supposed to give it a shake, and that will trigger its lights and its sound effects. However, like the hazard trigger, I guess this is kind of appropriate, this is an extremely sensitive device to the point where I tend to leave the tab in so it doesn't just accidentally go off at any moment. That's a little bit annoying. So, in order to demonstrate, we actually have to pull the tab. But first, because this toy does work exclusively with the hazard trigger, you can use it individually, but there's also a lot of gaps in the audio when you use it that way. It's pretty much designed with the hazard trigger in mind. And with the hazard trigger securely in place, it is time to actually show this off. And you'll see, yes, it is also a very sensitive device. To activate, we shake. And you'll excuse me if I go straight into the henshin without explaining anything until afterwards, because this will go very quickly. So you can kind of see why it's designed for the hazard trigger. It's got a lot of sound effects that are meant to mirror the gaps in the hazard trigger's own soundboard. Now, there are a couple of oddities here. Like, for starters, you saw how sensitive it is. Also, twisting the cap finally does something, revealing the logo of whatever side is in use at the time. That said, it is a little bit annoying that it doesn't actually activate the rabbit and the henshin sequence. I know that would take a little bit of extra wiring and make this more expensive as well as more fragile, but it does seem weird that twisting it does absolutely nothing but change the image. But I guess it's better than doing absolutely nothing at all. Alright, so, final attack noise. I think the only thing that I'm not a big fan of is how much these are overlapping. Both are trying to overpower the other, but this is a smaller speaker and a smaller device, so it's having a hard time trying to outsound the hazard trigger. Alright, so that out of the way. And we need to continue. In order to activate Tank, we need to shake this again and then go all the way with the shaking a second time. You can see it's kind of easy to get confused. There's so much going on. You have to activate so many things in order to get this sequence to work. So it's a little bit frustrating to play with unless you remember everything in the right sequence. And even then, you still have to play out everything before all the sound effects wear off or start switching themselves, especially when you have two sensitive devices trying to work in collaboration. All right. Now, if you were listening to the full bottle on its own, it'd be a lot clearer, of course, but it'd also have a lot of gaps in the audio. And it is meant to work with the hazard trigger. It's actually sold alongside the hazard trigger in the same box. This is why I demonstrate it the way I do. Unfortunately, it's just not powerful enough to overpower the hazard trigger's sound effects. While they do sound cool together, it does take a particular ear to peg or to pull them apart from each other and actually know what's going where. So it's unfortunately a little underpowered. That said, I do like the full bottle a lot. I like the design and colors. I like the split and double bottle function. It seems to carry the feel of the full bottles better than, say, sticking a big soda can inside the belt. And I just wish it was a little bit less sensitive. I also wish you didn't have to shake through the rabbit form to shake into the tank form. I wish it was a little bit more intuitive than that. That said, 2 completely full Henshins, a new LED added to the mix, as well as some nice sound effects and finishing noises. For what it is, I am fairly happy with it. Everything could use a little bit of improving, but, this one doesn't do too bad.